all these crazy notes. Maybe I get there. First of all, there are people that are listening or watching right now that might not know you. Can you explain your voice to them?
Yeah, so I had a very strong voice. In fact, unusually strong voice. Till I was 42 years old, 1996, my voice, I got an injury, a brain injury, that caused my voice, caused this to my voice, and it's called spasmodic dystonia.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much stable, and in fact, it was much worse than this. Yeah. So Cheryl and I went over about, I don't know, 8 months ago, maybe 3 months before I announced my candidacy, and we went to Japan, and they do this surgery in Japan where they put a piece of, like a bridge of titanium in my throat, and it helped, and then I started doing some therapies, and, it's improving.
If you woke up from that surgery with an Asian accent, that would help.
I said that. I said, I don't want that happening. I told that to them.
Oh, before you went under, yeah.
Well, they never put
I need to pronounce R's. I'm RFK.
They never put me on the date. Did you get in trouble for, like, Asian stuff?
No.
Yeah. I must have misread that.
All right, y'all. I am back. I'm back.
But anyway, so I'm not going to go there with you.
Yeah. Good. But you're our president. You can't be making these jokes. I'll be making these jokes. Okay.
So,
the worst thing America's done.
I am watching
they never knocked me out.
RFK on Andrew Schultz, Flagrant 2, or is it just Flagrant now?
And Cheryl was in the room, but there was a lot of carnage that was associated with it.
But I might turn it soon. I don't know. I haven't been able to just get into it lately. I don't know why. Hold on, let me set up a few things real quick, guys. Okay. Let me make sure I'm streaming. I am.
It's not painful, but it's painful for me to listen to myself. I can't listen to myself. If I hear myself on TV, I'll never watch this podcast.
I used to hate to hear myself talk to RFK.
I feel sorry for other people who have to listen to it, but it's all I got.
Well, if you're president, we're going to have to listen a lot.
I know. A lot of people, are worried about that.
You can just tweet
If they say on the internet, I like everything about you, but I can't take your voice.
Can't we do auto-tune? Isn't there like a...
There should be AI.
Yeah. Because we do it with singers, right? Like, they have these weird...
I think I'm gonna turn this one. I just can't do Flagrant for some reason. Dang, he was cute when he was young. You know, he's not a bad looking old man. Like, even Donnell Rawlings couldn't pull me into a Brilliant Idiots or Flagrant anymore. Alright, let's watch. I'm watching something called The Matrix. The New Matrix was bad on purpose by Lex Torius. Anyways, guys, what's up? You know me. No, you don't. Probably not.
Matrix Resurrections is possibly
I'm just doing this interim podcast. I mean, not interim podcast. This interim gameplay.
On one hand,
All these. I was wondering why the pigs were all out there. This interim gameplay until I post my village being, fully restored. So for right now, it looks like, I'm just restoring it. I'm collecting all types of wood for it. I was collecting acacia, and I actually discovered a new village So we're gonna go there, and it had another portal too. So let's go there. Actually, you know what? Let's bring. I'm gonna bring my. I'm gonna bring out the the woo wop, the bam. Okay, I'm gonna bring that out. And I got my mattress, okay, got my mattress, got the woo-wop. Do I got a chest? Because I'm not going to take it into the nether. Okay, we're going to bring some, no, actually, I saw lava, and it was mostly a fully built nether portal, so we're going to bring this, and I'm going to cut down a little bit more acacia trees. Like, even though this is just an interim, you know, minimally edited, of course, gameplay, I knew you guys didn't want to watch me chop down acacia trees, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go. But yeah, guys, I'm not gonna talk too much. I'll be listening to podcasts in the background. You know, some people like to listen to music. I listen to podcasts, catch up on them, or listen to just random videos on YouTube. I just like watching random ass videos.
We're getting off topic here. Agent Doc Manhattan is played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and that is his real name. And no, I don't know that they wouldn't ever not use his real name in the movie he's in because it's awesome. Yahya and the girl talk about both seeing Neo and being awoken from the Matrix by just seeing him. And then Agent Manhattan says that his name is Morpheus. Yes,
Yahya should be he should be the new Kang.
We'll talk about that.
I bet you my volume is loud as hell. Hold on, let me turn down my volume real quick. Yeah. That video captured crazy.
Matrix game that was literally just the plot of the movie trilogy, even winning an award for
Turn down just a little bit.
This is only just scratching the surface for the meta commentary that this movie is about to get into. Keanu's co-worker takes him out for coffee. His co-worker is played by Andrew Lewis Caldwell, best known for his roles as funny fat guy in Victorious and Hannah Montana.
Funny fat guy. Ooh. Y'all, please excuse. Y'all know this is Bedrock. Please excuse the loading.
Why I necessarily showed those clips. I just had to see them, and I felt like I had to show someone else.
Ever since the 1.20 update, the loading has been ridiculous.
Referencing fan reactions to the movies. We then see someone who looks like Trinity walk into the coffee shop. Keanu's friend introduces the two of them as they seemingly meet for the first time, though they feel like they've met before. Though Carrie is apparently married and her husband Chad, yes that is his real name, takes her away. Back at work, Keanu goes into a meeting with his boss, Holden from Mindhunter. And I know Jonathan Groff is a really good actor who's been in a
the village isn't too far away. I'll probably be there after this next little part.
Just refer to him as Holden from Mindhunter. Keanu has visions and flashbacks of the Matrix movies while talking to his boss, who reminds him of Agent Smith. And here's where the movie goes completely insane for me.
I love dolphins. There it is. See the house up there.
And I just want you to sit with that for a bit, because it's about 99% of the evidence for my theory. We then cut to Keanu in therapy with Patrick Harris. Keanu is a suicide survivor and doesn't want to make a Matrix sequel because it feels too realistic for him. He's then literally given a prescription for blue pills and takes one to calm down. Keanu then goes to a board meeting where they pitch Matrix 4 the game, and we see a giant montage of characters talking about what the original movies, games, meant. We're not even 30 minutes in, and we've had 10 minutes of scenes with characters talking about the franchise that they're currently in. An alarm goes off in Keanu's workplace, but he gets a text to go to a door at the end of the hall. Inside is Morpheus, who makes a reference to Morpheus' intro into the original movie. Wasn't too sure about the callback, but Morpheus Morpheus offers Keanu the red pill, but Keanu refuses, and SWAT actually starts shooting at the two of them, so Morpheus shoots back. Holden comes out and sees a gun in the ground, so he picks it up and just turns into Agent Smith. But not actually Hugo Weaving, because they recast him too. Holden is Agent Smith in this movie. Just accept that. Agent Holden shoots Keanu, who wakes up in Neil Patrick Harris's office, being told he had a psychotic episode. And there is a small cut, but it is very important. Keanu has a flashback to winning his game award, where he had apparently immediately tried to jump off the roof afterwards in another delusional episode. And there is a split-second cut where Keanu is replaced by James McTeague, the actual second
big
unit
fella?
director of the
He was
original
walking
Matrix
fast.
films and producer of this movie. Yes, there is a scene where the actual producer for The Matrix is winning an award for The Matrix and immediately tries to kill himself. Immediately after his therapy session, we see Keanu drinking alone on a rooftop, which is just hilarious to me considering what we just saw. This man's on suicide watch and they just let him do that? Drunk Keanu is about to jump off the roof again, thinking he can fly, when the girl from the opening pulls him back and takes him away. Her name is Bugs, which she explains is named after Bugs Bunny. Hey,
Here's where I was,
directed by Warner Brothers. Did you remember? Oh, you don't think I forgot, did you?
Here's where I was,
in the background of a LeBron James basketball
getting
game
all
next
my
to
acacia
Pennywise
trees
it
from.
because art is a lie and life is suffering. So anyway, they go through a portal to a Tokyo train, then to the good guy's hideout in the Matrix. Keanu meets Morpheus again, and they say there's footage of the Matrix game playing on a projector, but it's literally just scenes from the film. Which is odd, because there's not one but two actual real-life Matrix games. Really, I have no idea why they decided to make it a video game in this movie.
There it is.
Already had
Okay, we're gonna take a little nap, and we're gonna head down there in the morning.
Like, that would have been great, but they just decided to turn them into video games for some reason. Anyway, Morpheus offers Keanu the red pill again, and he takes it. Police then show up and shoot at the gang, who escape to the Tokyo train portal. It's revealed that instead of agents, every NPC in the Matrix is basically a robot that can be turned into a zombie at will, and they all attack the group. Neo and the gang fight the zombie NPCs and get out of the Matrix via a mirror on the train, and Neo wakes up in goo like in the first movie. Though this time, the only pods in the area are Neo's and Trinity's. A bug robot thing then takes Neo's plugs out and takes him away as he reaches out for Trinity. He is then taken to a spaceship, and Bugs tells him, so far. It's got a lot of stuff in it that's easy to make fun of. I enjoy it. However, everything from this point onward is a remake of the first Matrix movie. For now, I'm not even going to point out every scene that's a rehash, because it's every scene. So now, Neo's plugged into the ship.
I didn't really understand the Matrix 4.
Morpheus says Neo is in withdrawal in the real world, but he knows what'll bring him back, and takes him to the dojo.
Okay, y'all, let's hope for a silk touch.
The fight scene from the first movie, but worse somehow, and Neo ends the fight with a Hadouken, because he can do that now, I guess. Neo then wakes up in bed. Bugs explains that the Matrix was re-uploaded and the Oracle died, and Neo was basically inside Matrix 2. Neo then says that nothing has changed, and his whole fight in the first trilogy was pointless then. But says that
bang the bad prods. Oh my gosh.
The Nebuchadnezzar 2.
Oh, I forgot to bring. Oh wait, no. I said I wasn't gonna bring any.
I'm just gonna call it the Nebuchadnezzar 2. On board, the crew fanboys out over Neo, and we see that some of the crew is machines who change sides. The human members are also almost exclusively played by the cast of Sense8, another Wachowski production. And the whole scene is just kind of funny to me because they talk about how the machines have sentience and free will now, right as one of the machines comes up to a crew member like it's a Pokemon. Morpheus then speaks through the second worst CGI recreation of the actor I've ever seen, which is some sort
I don't know
of
what the crying obsidian does. I think it revives you in the nether or something. I gotta look it up.
Says they can't because Neo was a one-time thing and the security is too tight. The ship then flies through a holographic rock wall to some place called Io. It's just Zion again. Neo then meets Niobe from the original trilogy, but in old age makeup. Neo and Niobe talk and reminisce about the OG trilogy, and she takes Neo to a botanist who has engineered a real strategy. What the fuck did I just say? Neo and Niobe talk and reminisce about the original trilogy, and she takes Neo to a botanist who has engineered a real strategy. She says that innovations weren't possible without sentient machines teaming up with the humans. Neo asks Niobe to help free Trinity, but she says she can't let the city be in danger since she enjoys the peace, and so has him taken to be imprisoned. Neo goes into prison, and literally in the very next scene, CGI Morpheus comes and breaks him out. The time between him being sent to prison and being broken out is less than a minute, and also they gave him a prison cell with an open balcony. Why does that even exist? Anyway, the gang finds Trinity in the Matrix and asks if they should really break her out
Definitely
because she
need
might be
these for
happier
my golden
inside.
apples.
Isn't like that the whole fucking point of the Matrix? Neo and the gang get back into the Matrix to go after Trinity, though Neo is worried he won't be able to use his powers anymore. Agent Smith Holden then shows up inside. Neo. He has a gay crush on him and says that he misses the old Matrix.
He has a gay crush on him.
The two are interrupted as the Merovingian shows up for some reason as a homeless man. And Smith says they need to kill Neo to go back to where they were, because in the new Matrix, the Merovingian and Smith are basically useless. So a big dumb fight scene happens, Smith beats up Morpheus, and it looks like the good guys are gonna lose. Also, prepare yourself for the worst callback line in cinema history. Smith and Neo duke it out one-on-one and have a reminiscing conversation.
Really?
about
With
them
the water
being
in
destined
it?
to fight each other. Neo is losing the fight, but does a force barrier to stop Smith from killing him, and Hadoukens him because out of all his god powers, that's the only one he remembers. Like, not even a throat jab? The Merovingian then says he'll be back in a spin-off sequel.
Hot
that
take.
runs away, and you can't even tell if I'm lying or not.
The
Even
Matrix
said
4
that,
was bad
you don't
because
know. Even if you
Keanu
watch the
Reeves
movie,
can't
it's
act.
impossible to understand a
Sorry.
fucking word the guy says.
Sorry, I don't know
So
who wants to
Neo
hear
finally
this.
meets up with Trinity, and
Keanu
they talk
cannot
about their
act.
dreams with each other. And I do
Sucks.
like Keanu Reeves having the acting chops of a block of wood. Their chemistry
Oh!
is honestly pretty
Oh,
good. Though, plot twist, Trinity disappears
He
into
agreed
code,
with me.
and Neil Patrick Harris shows up. Turns out he's a villain called the Analyst, who is basically the Architect 2.0. He explains this as Neil Patrick Harris actually controls time to stop Neo from fighting him.
Dang, I forgot to bring my little lighter.
I know. Kinda ironic.
Dang, I keep moving.
Find you to control you.
What the fuck do I even say here? That is awful. Neil Patrick Harris says that he was there when Neo and Trinity died, and he actually had them rebuilt to be used for a new Matrix. Except this one is powered solely by Neo and Trinity's emotions, which officially means that we're working on Monsters Inc. logic that you can convert emotion into power, and somehow this generates way more power than all of humankind being used as batteries, I guess. This also doesn't explain why Agent Smith is here, and actually that's never explained, so fuck it. Anyway, the gang breaks Neo out, and they come back. Niobe chews them out for half a second, then forgets she was angry, probably due to old age or something. Niobe then takes Neo to a mysterious woman who is keeping an eye on him in the Matrix. It's revealed to be Sati, the Indian girl from the original trilogy, because of course it is. And they recast her too, but I care a little bit less about that one because the only other role I could find the original actress in was a single episode of The Office. Sati says her father designed the pods where Neo and Trinity were imprisoned, but got purged with the new Matrix, so Sati wants revenge. She says that Trinity can't power the Matrix on her own, and is going to reset without Neo there, but Neil Patrick Harris is threatening to kill Trinity if Neo doesn't come back. So, the gang volunteer to go on the mission to save Trinity. The plan is to sneak in by having Morpheus's particle bits sneak up Neo's oxygen tube, letting bugs in to transfer Trinity's consciousness out of the Matrix and onto the Nebuchadnezzar too. And I just have to point out that it is so stupid that Morpheus is a physical being because he literally jumps over the gap between the two pods and goes like, whoa, like he's about to fall down, even though he's made of flying robots. Anyway, Neo enters the Matrix and talks to Neil Patrick Harris and makes a deal to talk to Trinity to see if she actually wants to leave. Since they can't get around if
Oh,
she
I don't
doesn't
think I
want to
did
go.
it.
Neil Patrick Harris
Oh, wait,
says
I
that
think
if
I
she
did.
wants to leave, he'll let her go. And Neo
Dang.
agrees that if she doesn't, he'll go back into his pod. Trinity then comes in and talks to
should
Neo.
I find
She
gravel
says
or
she
should I
wants
go
to
back
leave, but can't bring
to
herself
the
to leave
abandoned
the
village? That
Neo says he
is
understands
the
she
question.
doesn't want to go and lets her go back with her husband
Ooh,
and kids.
sorry
And
guys.
it's at this point that I would like to point out that the literal plot of the scene is that the gamer Neo is trying to steal Trinity from her husband Chad. Chad, of course,
I'm gonna go
played by
back
Chad
to my-
Stahelski, the original
to
stunt
my
double for
village.
Neo and the
My
director of
abandoned
John Wick
village.
films. Though just before Trinity goes with her family, she beats the shit out of her fake husband and goes to be with Neo instead. Neo starts to fight back against the NPCs, and Neil Patrick Harris stops time again, basically saying he lied about his promise. Though Agent Smith shows up and beats up Neil Patrick Harris because he hates the new Matrix, and I still don't know why he's doing it, or better yet, why he can overcome Neil Patrick Harris's time powers. If they do explain it in the movie, please let me know through email at xxxx@aol.com. Anyway, a giant cheap pops up, and Trinity gets re-uploaded to the game's computer and starts using the powers in the Matrix. Neo and Trinity then fight through a giant crowd to be with each other, and the Matrix turns hostile. All the bots in the world are now angry and try to swarm Neo, Trinity, and the gang. Neo tries to fly away, but can't in a scene straight out of a fucking Marvel movie.
Aren't you supposed to fly?
So instead, Trinity and Neo take a motorbike and drive through a swarm of bots. This is by far the worst part of the movie and looks awful. It feels like it's a high-budget fan film. And like Neo keeps using these Force Blast Hadoukens that I don't even remember him doing in the original trilogy, and it's all he does. Literally the only move he does in the entire movie is this weird Force Blast Hadouken thing. And like this scene is literally shot after shot of a car or a swarm of NPCs or something coming after Neo on the bike, and he force blasts them away, and then another thing comes at him and he force blasts that over and over again. The only cool part of this scene is when the bots apparently turn into suicide bombers and literally start throwing themselves
Yeah,
off of buildings to
that
dive
was
on
pretty
the
cool.
good guys,
That was my
which I
favorite.
did think it was fun because it's what I wanted to do when watching this part of the movie.
Oh my
After
God.
a 30-minute long action scene that goes on forever, Neo and Trinity finally escape to a roof and are surrounded. Neo struggles to stop bullets from a helicopter and redirects a missile because he learned one move in a fighting game and refuses to do any other move. Neo and Trinity share a final kiss on top of the roof. She says her dreams of escaping she's had have always ended here. The two tell each other they'll never let themselves be taken alive and jump off the roof. And the movie ends. I'm obviously joking. No, Trinity begins to fly this time because girls get it done, and the two escape in the Matrix and wake up in the real world. They find each other on the ship and embrace and have a grand old time. Back in the Matrix, Trinity shows up at Neil Patrick Harris's house, kicks his jaw off, slits his throat, and he calls her a bitch. Like, it's the end of the movie, who gives a shit? We've got an R rating, and nobody so much has gotten a scratch in this film, so yeah, just throw it all in at the end. They talk to Neil Patrick Harris, and he says they might be able to remake The Matrix, but the sheeple like his world better. Yes, the movie franchise that invented the term red pill has now used the word red pill. The movie then ends.
I mean,
just like
these
the
are
first
here,
one,
but
only
I
this
don't
time
have any.
Neo and Trinity fly away as Rage Against the Machine plays.
I don't have any
That's
steel.
not
I mean,
Rage Against the
iron.
Machine. That is a Rage Against the Machine cover band called Brass Against, where the lead singer pissing on a man live on stage during a concert.
Was that? Wow.
Fitting.
Sir, if you don't
So
get your
I said at the
behind.
beginning of this video that I was going to review this movie as if it were made sincerely, and that's exactly what
I
I'm
didn't
going to
block
do.
him
I'm going
in.
to
When
treat
I was doing
movie
this, I did
as if
not
it was
block him
made
in.
100% sincerely to be good by Lena Wachowski, and as a genuine attempt at a Matrix
Oh, wow.
sequel, this movie is awful. You see, I don't know what happened with the Wachowskis, or at least Lana, or Lena, I think I've said it both ways in this video, because they directed one of, if not the greatest action movies with The Matrix. And now I don't want to sound like one of those people that's been claiming online that Lana and Lily Wachowski got lucky by making The Matrix, or that they stumbled into its success, because I do think that it is 100%
Oh, that's
due
cute.
to them that movie is as good as it is. It is amazing in every way, and I think the direction is a huge part of it.
Oh, there's
But I
some.
think somewhere
How many
along the way,
pieces of
somewhere over
iron do I need?
people stopped caring, because aside from their early work, the Wachowski-directed movies have all just been terrible, and Matrix 4 is no exception. A big part of this film is the interesting meta-commentary about the film being made, which I will talk more about
he's
in
from
my theory
Canada.
section. But it's just an incredibly ironic situation where it seems like the first half of the movie is apologizing for the second half. The film goes in depth on the reception and the
it's
idea
right
people
there,
have
but
of
all
the
those
original
people,
Matrix movies, and
so
even
many.
makes fun of what a sequel to them shouldn't be, and then just goes ahead and does it anyway. Like,
Okay,
I get that they're
anything
being
on the roof?
self-aware, but real self-awareness is only appreciated
I've
when
already
you can
pillaged
change the
this
formula
village.
that you're making fun of, not when you follow it. But this movie is 100% a rehash of the original Matrix film, and it's just awful. Especially with the recast of Morpheus
Right there.
and Agent Smith, two of the biggest
No.
characters in the original series. And I looked
Dang
into
it.
and apparently Hugo Weaving
It's
had
too dangerous.
being on Broadway, so he couldn't make it for the filming dates that Wachowski wanted. So apparently,
Not as I am right
decided
now.
to make the movie without him,
I need to
which is a
upgrade
bold
myself.
choice. And what's even odder is that apparently Lawrence Fishburne wasn't even asked to be in the movie.
Okay,
which
we gotta
is
go
like,
back.
What the fuck? That makes no sense to me. I know hardcore Matrix fans will point out that Morpheus canonically dies in the Matrix Online video game, but in the movie itself, he's not Morpheus, he's a digital recreation of Morpheus. So like, did Keanu just forget what he looked like? And with the movie being a rehash, every single element, I mean every single element of this movie is just done again, but
Nothing,
worse.
nothing.
I mean, they literally took a movie known for pioneering action choreography, action filmmaking, CGI, special effects. They literally invented in the first movie. And somehow in this movie, they've done all of those things worse than not only the original, but the movies that ripped off the original. And they had Keanu Reeves and the director of John Wick in this film. So it certainly doesn't seem like it's due to any lack of talent or filmmakers on board. I just don't think that they cared. Even the soundtrack was bad.
Okay, I'm gonna try up here one last time.
Amazing soundtracks in the film.
If not, I'm gonna just
For
go.
how good they paired with the animation. This one sounds like it was done by Kevin MacLeod. Like they're using fucking Sneaky Snitch to score some of these scenes.
Oh, is that what I think it is?
It feels like you're being gaslit when you watch it. Like I'm thinking while I'm watching the opening scene of this movie, like was the original Matrix this bad? The answer is no. No, it wasn't.
How?
There are no agents in the movie.
thought I was gonna
There's
be on
no
the other side.
interaction. Agent Smith keeps calling Neo
Well,
Tom instead of Mr. Anderson.
I do
for
need
some
a,
fucking reason.
I do need a
evil,
furnace.
threatening, all-knowing bad guy in this movie is Neil Patrick Harris, who doesn't even look threatening when you put him in an SS uniform. And the plot makes zero sense too. They literally break Neo out of the Matrix just because.
Sorry,
and then
guys.
The entire conflict of the movie is them getting
Probably gonna be a short
into the
video
danger
today.
that they themselves caused. There are no stakes or anything in the movie because if at any point the guys lose, they're literally right back where they started. And not a single character in the entire movie, not a single character even gets hurt in the entire movie. No one gets killed. They are all fine in the end. No one was at risk or in any danger. They fire so many bullets. And not once in the movie does a single bullet ever connect with anyone ever. And then it just ends with like a fanfiction level happily ever after. Neo and Trinity control the Matrix, and they both have superpowers now, and they're super in love, and they're gonna remake the Matrix in a good way this time. So, as a genuinely made movie, it is completely irredeemable in every way imaginable, and I could not recommend more that you do not watch this movie. And, well, my friends, this is where my theory comes in. You see, watching this movie made me question a lot of things. And the first question is actually why I watched it. The second question is why was it made?
Okay.
And, I mean, the movie
I'll
makes
just
it
make
pretty
one.
obvious why it was made. I mean, it even directly tells the audience at one point why it was made.
I'm sure you can understand why our beloved parent company, Warner Brothers, has decided to make a sequel to the trilogy. They informed me they're going to do a murder with us, and they made it clear they'll kill our contracts if we don't cooperate.
This movie was solely made by Lana Wachowski because she knew that Warner Brothers was going to make the movie without her anyway. And so, Lana Wachowski made the movie and made it bad on purpose.
Dang.
And this theory sounds insane. It sounds like a MatPat level game theory, where I just make up evidence for it. And surely the Warner Brothers scene was just some tongue-in-cheek joke, and that's where it ends, right? Well, just hear me out for a moment, and hopefully it'll start to make sense to you. Because I looked into the behind-the-scenes of this movie, and that's where it all clicked for me. Because with only a little bit of research, you can find articles on
Only need a
about
one.
how
Wow.
Michael B. Jordan was originally cast to be the lead in a new Matrix film. The movie was going to be written by Zach Penn, a writer for The Avengers and Ready Player One, and it was specifically made in order to start a new Matrix film franchise. And the most important thing about this is that the Wachowskis were not attached to the movie at the point that any of these articles were written. So, we know that Warner Brothers was going to make a Matrix film without the Wachowskis in it. And something else interesting to note is that right around this time, Lana Wachowski's parents unfortunately passed away. And this is important because there is a very interesting interview done for The Matrix Resurrections where Lana talks about how this is what made her want to do the film. In the interview, she says that she made the decision to bring Neo and Trinity back as a way of dealing with the grief of losing her parents, literally resurrecting beloved characters. And something interesting from this interview, other than the fact that Lana speaks exactly how you think the person who wrote the dialogue for the architect would speak, is that Lana also talks about how Warner Bros. Incessantly asked her to make a new Matrix movie. I mean, I've already covered Space Jam 2 on this channel and how shameless this studio is when it comes to milking their franchises. And funnily enough, Space Jam 2 also has a meta reference to the fact that Warner Bros. Is single-handedly making this movie for money. So now I think it
Come
all
on,
starts
Warner
to come
Bros.
together.
Really?
Warner Bros.
Get your-
Wants a milkable franchise with young characters to do spin-offs with, and Lana Wachowski wants to do a movie for personal reasons. These two bits of information are provable facts. And so here's where the theory part comes in. Because unless Lana Wachowski literally comes out in an interview and says, I did not want to make this movie and I made it bad on purpose, the rest of what I'm going to say is just a theory. A game theory.
I knew it.
But I just want to lay out my theory and let you decide how well it fits the information we've been presented. So imagine this. Lana Wachowski gets an email from Warner Brothers. They say they're making a new Matrix movie in order to get spin-offs and money from. Lana is upset over this recent traumatic event that's occurred within her family, but Warner Brothers say that they're going to make the movie anyway, with or without her. So, Lana takes out contract with a list of criteria she needs to meet. They need young characters so they can make stories down the line. They need an open-ended ending so they can continue franchising the series. They need the movie to be a rehash of the original.
No, my bed is up there. Why? Why did I come down here? I thought I brought it down here. I thought, well, I didn't think I'd bring it down here. I thought I had another one.
Living forever because it makes her feel better. So she makes the emotional message that also helps her grieve. Lana doesn't care about franchising and wants the series to be a trilogy and has been strongly against movies because she thinks the story hasn't already been told. But in order to appease these bullet points, she adds in new characters. Names one Bugs Bunny and me. Make the other characters past her friends that she made on Sense8 and the roles, and everyone's happy. And of course, she doesn't even bother contacting the original cast herself.
Okay, let's do it. Here. Here.
Lana, you're shooting the whole movie on a soundstage. What locations are there? Sorry. You're breaking
Yes.
up. What? Yeah.
Come here, delicious meat.
I'm going.
Well, quite delicious. Beef jerky. He ain't even dropping it.
And the Warner Bros. Execs are happy because Holden and Doc Manhattan are cheaper and younger, so they can do more films. Lana's now written the movie to copy the structure of the original exactly.
I'm just trying to see what's on the other side of this.
Makes it all about love.
Because I will have to go and get Ray's Rise eventually.
To write the parts where Lana is the Matrix. She calls up Warner Bros. And asks if she can change it. They say she met the bullet points, so fuck it, do whatever you want. So Lana writes this incredibly meta script about the Matrix movies existing and people's reception to them and how nobody understood them, and tries to make it as obvious as possible that Warner Bros. Made her make this movie. So, she submits the draft. She might even be worried that it's too meta, but the only notes she gets back are to change the Matrix movies into video games because it's more modern and cool. She makes Keanu a gamer, and the Matrix movies are now the Matrix games, and literally changes nothing else, including the scene where the movies themselves are playing on projectors. She even casts the old second unit director she's friends with in a scene accepting an award for the movie because she thinks it's funny. Lana shoots the movie, gets a paycheck, and bounces. She knows the movie will flop and that Warner Bros. Will be unable to make a franchise out of it, and the only parts she even cares about is the catharsis she gets from resurrecting Neo and Trinity. She didn't care about getting good action choreography or good CGI or anything else. And that is my theory on how this movie got made. And again, it is just a theory. There's no hard evidence that this played out
Alright,
anywhere
yeah.
close to what I just described.
Let's see what's on the other
But
side.
it checks all of the boxes. And it would make me respect Lana Wachowski infinitely more. Because again, if it's not true, and this movie was made 100% genuinely to be a good movie, well, I think the video up until this point is clear my thoughts on it.
Sorry, I got my
It is
door
actual
open
garbage.
to the outside. I like fresh air when it's cool. It's probably why my allergies been acting up.
Perspective on the director. So those are my thoughts on Matrix Resurrections. And what can we take from this? What can we learn at the end of the day after having reviewed this movie? Well, I think we can learn the message that the movie is telling us, because this movie does have a strong message and a pretty cool
I wonder if I'm gonna come out this nether portal or if it's gonna bring me back to the nether portal closer.
Your life is a lie. You need to take pills in order to wake up
Oh wait,
from
no.
this simulation, okay? Nothing
I
is
knew it.
real.
This
You
is
need to wake up
what?
to, okay? Lana Wachowski is
Yeah, this is the nether portal. This is what the nether portal looks like when I go out from my village. Or from the abandoned village. This is that little section. Wow. Aww. So it's too close together, basically. Thought I was gonna see something. I don't like this area. It's too many skeletons. I don't like them. Alright, we're gonna go back. But yeah, this is the place I burrowed myself through to get back to my original village. I've seen this already. Gee.
It was written by Frank Herbert in the 60s. There have been many attempts to adapt this book to movies and TV, and most of them aren't very good. Dune has been called unfilmable because the book
Yep.
is so weird
I'm
and
at,
complicated.
I'm at my
The
village.
writing is
Wow.
full of
Okay, let me go
internal
back.
monologue and thoughts instead
I think
of
I'm gonna just
actual
swim.
dialogue. The plot is layered with heaps of
All that for
secret
nothing.
plans.
Wow, I could have been restoring my
Its
village.
world building is richly detailed, with hundreds of words for its languages, cultures, and religions.
Dune explores big ideas about consciousness, politics, and philosophy, and the Dune sequences get increasingly strange and cerebral. The new movie is a pretty close adaptation of the first half of the first book, but it still leaves out a lot of important plot lines and details. So how does the book compare to the movie? What's the real story of Dune? This video has spoilers for the 2021 Dune movie.
I gotta see if my mom watched Dune. She ended up watching the Kyle McCallaghan or something version, where Kyle was Paul Atreides.
So Dune is set thousands of years in
She said she liked it,
humans live on many planets
but she
across the
said
universe, and they're
she
ruled
said it
by
looked
the Emperor
modern.
Shaddam IV.
I'm so sorry, Mom, but
Herald in the movie,
wow,
but we don't
she
see
really
Shaddam
said it looked
himself.
modern, so I looked at the movie
Beneath
she
the
was
Emperor
talking
are
about.
great
It was like a
houses House
1984
Atreides
version.
and
It was
House
not
Harkonnen,
modern.
Powerful political dynasties who ruled planets with their armies and wealth. The houses meet in a congress called the Landsrat, which balances against.
My mom likes sci-fi movies.
The
She
other big
loves
political
sci-fi.
power is the Spacing Guild, because the Guild controls all interstellar spaceflight. Guild navigators use a drug called spice that lets them see into the future, which is the only way to guide spaceships safely across the stars. In the movie, these big Guild spaceships called Hayliners look like tunnels that you can pass through to instantly reach a distant planet. You can see a new world through this ship. Wormhole. The later Dune books describe this as folding space. The Guild is secretive and mysterious. It's hinted that Guild navigators have mutated and don't look human anymore. So everyone kinda hates the Guild for being creepy, extortionate space weirdos, but everyone needs them to travel. So for thousands of years, the universe has been ruled by this balance of the Emperor, houses, and Guild. They're bound together by the Great Convention, which has rules banning the use of nuclear weapons. But a cheeky bit of assassination and warfare is allowed within limits. Politics in Dune is a deadly game. Every noble family watches their back for assassins and tests their food for poison. The houses rule their planets under a strict
I would hate to
middle
live
class
like that.
system. Slavery, oppression, and exploitation.
Oh, let me-
This is an unfair, unequal universe. The houses have shares in the Chome Company, which controls trade in the universe. It's kind of like the Dutch East India Company or Amazon in space. Chome means money, and all the houses fight for a slice. In this struggle, a tiny shift in interest rates can change the ownership of an entire planet. Science and technology is limited in Dune. Like, there are giant spaceships and laser guns, but there are strictly no computers or robots or AI. Because thousands of years in the past, people did rely on thinking machines, but then some people used those machines to take over the world and enslave people, and it sucked. So then there was a religious crusade called the Butlerian Jihad that destroyed all the computers and banned them forever. In the Orange Catholic Bible, it is written, "Not a likeness of a man's mind." The idea is that and making our own decisions is what makes us human. Letting machines think for us makes us less free and less conscious. So that's why the machines were destroyed. Ever since, humans have had to learn to think for themselves. They founded schools to train the human mind and body to its full potential. So now there are people called mentats, human computers who can think super logically. They process data, calculate probabilities, and perceive people's motives. The mentat Thufir Wat works as a strategic advisor to House Atreides. In the books, mentats take a drug called Sappho to make themselves smarter, and the drug stains their lips red. In the new movie, mentats just have tattoos on their lips instead. Like the mentats, the navigators of the Spacing Guild have trained their brains to calculate the mathematics of spaceflight. And the other important school is the Bene Gesserit, an ancient mystical order
Bene
with highly trained
Gesserit.
minds and bodies. Their practice is influenced by Zen Buddhism, with meditation and contemplation to achieve inner balance. Bene Gesserit can precisely control all their muscles and nerves, even their body's biochemistry and their reproductive systems. They have powerful memories and can read people's feelings through their words and body language. They can control
Alright,
people
let's go.
with their voice. They can fight with They're basically like the Jesuits, the Bene Gesserit do missionary work in distant places, and they have political ambitions. The Bene Gesserit work with the Emperor and houses, and they say they live to serve. But the Bene Gesserit also have their own
To me,
plans. For
and
centuries,
due
these
to
witches
the
have
Bene
manipulated
Gesserits
the
were
universe
the
from
main
shadows.
enemy. Like, the Bene Gesserits are the actual antagonists. Like, we're thinking the Harkonnens are the antagonists. We're thinking everybody else is the Baron, the Duke, whatever, the King, the Emperor. Nah, it was really the Bene Gesserits. And his mom. His mom was giving antagony vibes. Lady Jessica.
So Dune is basically like Game of Thrones in space on drugs. And the most important drug is spice. Because spice not only makes spaceflight possible and can give visions of the future, spice also makes people live longer, extending lifespans by decades.
Alright, we back. We back at the village,
If they
y'all.
stop taking it, they'll die. It's an addictive, cyclic, mind-expanding, life-extending, spaceship-flying drug, and it tastes like cinnamon, so naturally, spice is the most valuable substance in the universe. And spice only comes from one place, the desert planet Arrakis, also called Dune. On Arrakis are giant sandworms whose life cycle makes spice. Humans harvest the spice and sell it, so whoever controls Arrakis becomes rich. The conflicts for resources in the deserts of Arrakis are comparable to conflicts for oil in the Middle East. For the last 80 years, Arrakis was ruled by the brutal House Harkonnen, led by the Baron Vladimir. The Harkonnens come from the planet Giedi Prime, the oil-soaked, blood-soaked hellhole of the Imperium. The movie imagines this planet as being totally industrialized, exploited and polluted until nature is gone and smog blackens the skies.
Damn.
The Harkonnens exploit their people too. They have slave laborers, sex slaves, and gladiator slaves to kill for sport. The Harkonnens use and consume everything to feed their endless appetites for power and pleasure. The Harkonnens are a mouth that swallows all. The Baron Vladimir is a ruthless political schemer who constantly indulges his desires for food and sex. He's too fat to support his own weight, so he uses suspensor technology, which lets him levitate. To rule Arrakis, the Baron installed his nephew, Raban, who is called the Beast for his brutality. Raban is not known for his intelligence. The Baron thinks of Raban as a muscle-minded tank brain. The Harkonnens are advised by Paiter de Vries, a Mentat assassin who loves torture and poison. Paiter is addicted to spice, and this expensive habit forces him to stay loyal to the Baron. The Baron uses people's weaknesses to control them. In the movie, the
Alright.
Harkonnens have a freaky human spider thing as a pet, which is not in the books, but according to interviews, it's meant to be a messed up science experiment. This was a human who was made into a monster. In the books, there is a faction called the Tleilaxu who do weird biology experiments, so maybe they made a spider. Some fans theorize that this spider is Yuli's captive wife, Lana, made into a monster to torture her.
Alright,
That's just
still getting rid of
horrifying
cobwebs,
speculation,
y'all.
and it's not in the books. Point is, the Harkonnens are dicks, and the spice on Arrakis made them rich. But at the start of the story, the Emperor orders the Harkonnens to leave, and he gives control of the planet to House Atreides, led by Duke Leto. The Atreides have a reputation for honor and integrity. They protect their people and inspire loyalty in return. The Atreides are descended from Atreus and Agamemnon of ancient Greece, and they rule the planet Caladan, a world of oceans and jungles, farming and fishing. The Atreides aren't very rich, but Leto is popular and influential among the houses of the Landsroad, and the Emperor hates that. He sees Leto's popularity as a threat. So when Shaddam gives them Arrakis, that seems like a good thing for the Atreides. But really, Arrakis is a trap. The Emperor and the Harkonnens secretly plan to destroy the Atreides with an army of Sardaukar. Sardaukar are the Emperor's elite soldiers, renowned for being brutal and merciless. They're said to be the deadliest soldiers in the universe. The Sardaukar come from Seleucus Secundus, a prison planet for the worst criminals in the universe. Seleucia is a hell world where only the strongest survive. And it's this harsh environment that makes the Sardaukar
They trying so
powerful.
hard, y'all.
The Emperor doesn't want the other houses to know that he's attacking the Atreides, so in the book his Sardaukar are disguised in Harkonnen uniforms. He and the Harkonnens want the Atreides to die in the dark.
Damn.
The story begins with Paul Atreides, son of the Duke Leto and Lady Jessica. Paul is just 15 years old in the book, and as the heir to House Atreides, there's a lot of pressure on him. He has no friends his own age because of the dangers of assassination. He's highly trained in politics and in combat, and in the book he's trained as a mentor with a powerful, logical mind like Thufir. Jessica trains Paul in the way of the Bene Gesserit to focus his mind and body, his perception and memory, and to use the power of the voice to control people.
Give me more.
It might seem unrealistic to control someone with your voice, but author Frank Herbert said we do it all the time. Like, it's easy to make someone angry with an insult, or happy with a compliment. And with practice, you can control people in more subtle and powerful ways, like politicians and advertisers do. You've just got to know your audience, use the right words and tone. Like and subscribe to Alt-Shift-X. So Paul is young, but he's a politician and a warrior with a powerful, highly trained mind. Leto visits the grave of his father, the Old Duke. The Old Duke used to fight bulls for sport as a matador, until he was killed by a bull in the ring. The Atreides family keep the head of this bull, with the Old Duke's blood still preserved in its horns. So the bull head represents facing danger, putting yourself at risk, just like Leto is putting himself in danger by coming to Arrakis. Leto knows that the Emperor and Harkonnens plan to attack him, but he takes the risk anyway because he believes he can win. Leto plans to use the desert power of Arrakis by making an alliance with the Fremen, the local desert people.
Oscar
Leto
Isaacs,
believes
bro.
that the Fremen will be great soldiers,
Jeez.
specifically because
Why?
they live in the harsh environment of Arrakis, just
beautiful.
like the Sardaukar are powerful because of the harshness of Seleucus Secundus. Author Frank Herbert was very interested in how environments affect people and how people affect their environment. So Leto bets everything on this plan to make the Fremen into his army to beat the Sardaukar. In the movie, Paul says he doesn't want to exploit or oppress the Fremen like the Harkonnens did. But in the book, the Atreides don't care about the Fremen like that. Their goal is to exploit the Fremen. The Atreides may seem like heroic good guys, like House Stark in space, but throughout the book, they use immoral, manipulative strategies, and we're invited to question their morality. In the movie, Chaney asks, who will our next oppressors be? In the movie, Paul complains that he doesn't get to take risks and have adventures. He questions whether he even wants to be a duke and to lead the Atreides. Leto is understanding and says he loves Paul no matter what. It's a touching moment of unconditional love between father and son. But in the book, we don't see anything like this. The Atreides are more formal and distant and serious in the book, and Paul does not question his duty to their house. The Atreides in the book are an ancient dynasty in a deadly planetary conflict, and they are not fucking around. While the movie humanizes the Atreides and makes them feel more like a normal, relatable family, the Atreides get a visit from Gaius Helen Mahayan. Gaius is a reverend mother, a special high-ranking Bene Gesserit who has expanded her mind using drugs. Reverend mothers have access to the memories of their ancestors and of other reverend mothers. Gaius was Jessica's teacher back at the Bene Gesserit school, and now she's the personal truth-sayer of the Emperor. He uses her for her ability to detect lies. So Gaius is a powerful, important person, and she has complicated loyalties to the Emperor and to Jessica and to the Bene Gesserit. Gaius gives Paul a test. Paul puts his hand in a box that causes terrible pain, but if he moves his hand, Gaius will kill him with a needle called the Gom Jabbar. So this is a test of self-control. Someone without self-control, like an animal, will instinctively move away from the pain and will die. To survive, you have to withstand the pain, control your body and mind, master your fear and your instincts. The Bene Gesserit believe that this ability to act consciously, to choose, to think long-term, not just in the moment, is what separates humans from animals. They give this test to everyone they train, so that only responsible, conscious humans gain their power. So anyone who fails this test, they kill. Before the test, we see the Atreides bullhead, because like the old Duke with the bull and later with Arrakis, Paul faces deadly danger in this test. When Jessica was trained as a Bene Gesserit, she took this test too, so she knows the pain Paul is feeling and is terrified he might die. To calm herself, she recites the litany against fear. Fear is the mind killer, but the fear will pass through me and I will remain. The Bene Gesserit train to calm their emotions and focus their mind, and Jessica's training helps Paul pass this test. Paul has self-control. He is human, so he withstands the pain and lives. In the movie, he also has fiery visions of the upcoming Harkonnen attack. Then we learn about
Why
the
he
Bene
looking like?
Gesserit's
Do you
secret
got
plan.
games on your phone?
For thousands of
That's
years,
this
the Bene
pig
Gesserit
looking like, bro.
manipulated the genetic lines of noble families like the Atreides. They breed certain people with other people, often by marriage to Bene Gesserits like Jessica. Even the Emperor has a Bene Gesserit wife controlling his reproduction. They select and combine certain genes, trying to produce a superhuman called the Kwisatz Haderach. This chosen one will be able to see into the future and the past better than any Bene Gesserit. Because Reverend Mothers like Gaius can only access the memories of their female ancestors. The Kwisatz Haderach will access all memories. He'll be a male Reverend Mother whose powerful mind will guide humanity. The name Kwisatz Haderach is borrowed from a real Hebrew term, meaning to shorten the way between two places. So the Bene Gesserit want to create the chosen one, but Jessica has messed with their plan. Because the Bene Gesserit wanted Jessica to have a daughter, not a son. That daughter was going to marry a Harkonnen, and their child would have been the Kwisatz Haderach. But Jessica, with her Bene Gesserit body control, chose to have a son. Paul,
Man, literally
instead.
just
Because
snuck up
Leto
on him.
wanted a son and Jessica wanted to make him happy. She chose her family over her duty to the Bene Gesserit.
It didn't
Jessica
seem like
hopes
that in the
that
movie.
Paul will be the Kwisatz Haderach instead, but Gaius is doubtful. Their ancient plan is now uncertain. So Paul might be the chosen one, and he's not happy about it. It feels weird and gross that he's the product of the Bene Gesserit's human breeding program, their manipulative eugenic plan. In the book, he feels an offense against his instinct for rightness. He questions Gaius, thinks she's a fatuous old witch full of meaningless platitudes. In other sci-fi stories, the hero's magical mentors are good and wise and pure, like Obi-Wan and Gandalf the White. But Gaius is a creepy witch in a black robe who works for the Emperor who's trying to kill Paul's dad. The Bene Gesserit are a shadowy political cult, and their plan to artificially create the Chosen One seems sinister and dark. In the book, Paul feels that he is infected with a terrible purpose that he doesn't understand.
Glorious
So what
purpose.
is Paul's destiny, and is it really a good thing? Dune is about questioning the whole idea of heroes, religions, politicians, predictions, and plans. It's about the danger of anything that reduces our ability to think for ourselves. One of Paul's teachers is Gurney Tusk. Gurney is a legendary closely loyal to the Atreides. Duncan is a close friend to Paul, almost like a big brother. In the movie, Paul tells Duncan about the dreams he's been having for the future, of this Fremen gone Chani, and of Duncan dying on Arrakis. These prescient visions are part of Paul's power as the potential Kwisatz Haderach. In the movie, Duncan tells Paul not to focus too much on dreams. He says everything important happens when we're awake. Because Dune is about the power of thoughts and visions, but it also warns us not to get
I'ma level
too
this.
sucked into our own minds, our assumptions and plans. The mystery of life isn't a problem to solve, but a reality. The deepest
There we go.
truths and the joy and meaning in life come from living in the present. Before he leaves his homeworld, Paul walks a Caladan beach. Caladan is a planet of water, to contrast the harsh, dry deserts of Arrakis. Caladan is beautiful, plentiful, a paradise, but the book says that the comforts of Caladan made the Atreides go soft. Life was too easy. They got undisciplined. Dune says that people need adversity and hard times in order to grow and achieve our potential. And Arrakis is the ultimate challenge. It's a test, like the Gom Jabbar, like the bull. Now Paul goes into the fire. Will Arrakis forge him stronger, like the Fremen, or will Paul burn? The Atreides arrive on Arrakis, and this guy blasts a bagpipe solo. When the people of Arrakis see Paul and Jessica, they shout Lisan al-Gaib, which means the voice from the outer world. Because there's a prophecy on Arrakis that there will come a leader, the child of a Bene Gesserit, who will lead Arrakis to freedom. Paul and Jessica seem to fit this prophecy. But the thing is, this prophecy is a lie. It was made up by the Bene Gesserit. The Bene Gesserit have a whole system for this called the Missionaria Protectiva. For thousands of years, they have spread specific religious ideas or infectious superstitions all over the universe. Particular religious signs and sayings
Not all the
planted
way.
in local cultures. So if a Bene Gesserit is ever on one of these planets, they can use those signs and sayings to gain power. Frank Herbert said this was inspired by missionaries from the Old World who used religion to manipulate and destroy cultures. So the people of Arrakis hope that Paul and Jessica are the chosen ones who will free them. But really, the Lisan al-Gaib prophecy is a cynical tool used by the Bene Gesserit to control people. The Atreides move into their new home in the city of Arrakeen, and Jessica hires a Fremen woman called Mapes to be a housekeeper. Not all the people of Arrakis are Fremen, like the people of the cities and the villages aren't Fremen. The Fremen are their own specific culture who live out in the desert, a renegade will-o'-the-sand people who live outside the control of the Imperium. Fremen all have blue eyes because their environment is saturated with spice, and spice is colored blue in the books. Fremen have a reputation for being fierce and dangerous. They compose poems to their knives. The Harkonnens and the Emperor see the Fremen as scum and barbarians who aren't worth considering. They think that there are only a few thousand Fremen living on the edge of the desert. But the Atreides think there could be lots more Fremen, and that they could be more powerful than they seem. So the Fremen are a mystery at the start of the book, and we gradually learn more about them. Mapes has the honorary title Shadout, which means well dipper, because water is super important in the Fremen desert culture. And Mapes isn't just here for a job interview. She came to test Jessica to see if she really fits the prophecy of the Lisan al-Gaib. So Mapes shows Jessica a crypt, a blade made from the tooth of a sandworm. And she asks Jessica what is the meaning of this knife. Jessica says it's a maker, and Mapes gets all excited because the Fremen call sandworms makers. So this seems to show that Jessica must know the secrets of Fremen religion, and she and Paul must be the Lisan al-Gaib. But thing is, in the book, Jessica is bullshitting Mapes. Jessica doesn't know the religious meaning of the Chris knife. She was gonna say that the knife is a maker of death to me.
Wow.
It's just a weapon. But Mapes interrupted Jessica once she heard what she wanted to hear. Jessica plays along and acts like she knows all this Fremen religious stuff, using signs and sayings from the Missionaria Protectiva, but inside, Jessica knows this is a sham. Jessica exploits religion to manipulate her and win her loyalty. Dune is about the danger of religion, how it can warp our thinking and control us. But this isn't just about the Atreides using the Fremen. In the book, after Jessica leaves, Mapes says to herself that Jessica is the one, poor thing. Mapes pities Jessica and knows things about her future. It's hinted that just as the Atreides use the Fremen may be using the Atreides for their own goals. Paul is attacked by a hunter-seeker, a weapon of assassination. It's like a flying remote-control needle, a ravening sliver of metal that can burrow into flesh to strike the heart. The hunter-seeker is controlled remotely by a Harkonnen assassin. The camera on the seeker is bad, so it relies on motion to find its target. So to survive, Paul has to stand perfectly still while the deadly needle points at his face. So this is just like the Gom Jabbar test.
I didn't know
Paul
that.
faces a deadly needle, and to survive, he has to stay still.
I was wondering why he was
mastering
still.
his fear and his body. Meanwhile, in the book, Jessica explores her new home, and she finds a mysterious door locked with a palm reader, which is a lock that only opens to the shape of a particular person's hand. So Jessica picks the lock by subtly changing the shape of her own palm, using her Bene Gesserit muscle control. In other sci-fi stories, characters might use hacking, or magic, or raw strength to break a lock, but Dune is about the power of the mind, so that's how Jessica opens the door. Inside, Jessica finds a conservatory, a place full of lush plants and water on this dry desert world. It's beautiful, but it's a terrible waste. This much water could sustain 1,000 lives on Arrakis, but instead it's used for the pleasure of the rich and powerful. In the movie, there's a scene with these palm trees, which are also a waste of precious water. The gardener says that the waste is okay because the trees are sacred, but in the books, these trees aren't sacred. The people of Arrakis look on these trees with envy and hate for the waste of water. But the movie takes away that moral complication and instead emphasizes the mystical connection between Arrakis' people and its environment. Anyway, in the conservatory, Jessica finds a hidden message from another Bene Gesserit. A message so secret that it's written on a leaf in Braille, and it warns her that there's a traitor
I wonder if there's still
among
water
the
under
Atreides
here.
working for the Harkonnens.
Nope, it's
In
gone.
the book, Thufir
Dang.
also gets a message warning
All
of
that
the
for
traitor.
nothing.
This message was planted by the Harkonnens, and they deliberately trick Thufir into thinking that Jessica is the traitor. The Harkonnens divide the Atreides in the book, turn them against each other, to distract from the real traitor, Dr. Yueh, who is working for the Harkonnens. When Thufir tells Leto this, Leto doesn't believe that his beloved Jessica is plotting against him, but he decides to pretend that he thinks Jessica is the traitor to make the Harkonnens think they tricked him while he looks for the real traitor. So the plot quickly gets complicated in the book. Dune is full of these plans within plans. The story is a chess game where only the best minds survive. And there's a sense from the start of the book that Leto is doomed to fail. That he's a man snared by destiny, caught in an inescapable trap. Leto has death thoughts, thinking about how he'll die, and Paul is shocked to see this vulnerability in his father. Paul sees that Leto makes mistakes, and
I
he
might have to
realizes
go
that
get
his dad won't be
iron
around
soon.
forever. Part of Paul growing up and becoming a man is seeing the flaws and the mortality in his father. The Atreides takeover of Arrakis doesn't go well. The Harkonnens left behind broken equipment, so the Atreides can't harvest much spice yet, and they're still expecting an attack from the Emperor's Sardaukar and the Harkonnens. Leto's great hope is the Fremen. Leto sent Duncan to try to make an alliance with the Fremen. Originally, the Dune movie started with the scene of Duncan landing on Arrakis. So Duncan meets the Fremen, and he learns that the Fremen live in caves called Sieches. There are millions of Fremen living deep in the desert, way more than the Harkonnens and the Emperor realize. The Fremen are also technologically advanced, manufacturing devices to help them survive in the desert. Duncan also learns that the Fremen are deadly in combat. So the Harkonnens and the Emperor are too arrogant and prejudiced to see the potential of the Fremen. But the Atreides are open-minded and willing to learn, which opens up the possibility of victory. So the Atreides meet Stilgar, the leader of a Fremen siege.
I love
The book
Stilgar.
emphasizes Stilgar's aura of power and his commanding voice. He's an impressive figure. Unlike the arrogant Harkonnens, Leto shows respect for Stilgar and his people. So Stilgar shows respect for Leto by spitting on the table, because in the Fremen desert culture, giving moisture from the body is a sign of respect. In the book, Duncan helped the Fremen fight some Harkonnens, so Stilgar invites Duncan to join his Fremen, while also serving Leto, representing an alliance between Stilgar and the Atreides. Stilgar gives Duncan a crysknife, the sacred Maker's blade, and it's mentioned that the Harkonnens are offering a huge bounty to anyone who can bring them a crysknife. Because anyone who has a crysknife and has spice blue eyes would appear to be a Fremen. They could infiltrate any siege. And in the book, the Harkonnen Mentat, Paiter,
I'm not
has
gonna level
blue
it
eyes because of
completely.
his spice addiction. So it seems that the Harkonnens want a crysknife so that Paiter can infiltrate the Fremen so that he can kill the Atreides.
Dang,
with
what
the
happened to
eye of
this?
the Fremen.
I used to
So
just be
this
able
is
to run
another
and
deadly subplot hidden within the story. But the meeting with Stilgar goes well, and there's hope for a larger alliance between the Atreides and the Fremen. The Atreides meet Liet Kynes. Kynes is an ecologist or planetologist working for the Emperor
dang
to
it.
study
Put
the
it in the wrong
environment
spot.
of Arrakis. She's also the judge of the change, meaning it's her job to make sure everyone follows the rules when the Harkonnens leave Arrakis and the Atreides take over. But secretly, the Emperor has ordered Kynes to help betray the Atreides and to let the Harkonnens attack them. But Kynes' loyalties are even more complicated than that. In the book, Liet Kynes is a man. Kynes' father was Pardo Kynes, the previous Imperial ecologist, and Liet Kynes' mother was a Fremen woman. So Liet Kynes was raised as a Fremen on Arrakis. Liet Kynes also married a Fremen, and they had a child called Cheney. So Cheney is Kynes' daughter in the movie as well as in the book.
what?
So Kynes
I didn't
works
know
for
this.
the Emperor, but Kynes is really loyal to the Fremen. Kynes leads the Fremen under the name Liet. In the book, Liet and Kynes seem to be two different people at first. The Atreides think the mysterious Liet might be the name of a Fremen god. It's only later that we find out that Liet, the Fremen leader, and Kynes, the planetologist, are the same person. So there are two sides to Kynes' identity, Imperial and Fremen, outsider and native, scientist and leader. Kynes gives the Atreides still suits are special outfits for the desert that cool the body and stop it from losing moisture. All of your sweat, pee, and poop is captured by the suit and reprocessed back into drinking water. Because without a still suit, in the desert's heat, you'll soon lose your moisture and die. The book goes into
Okay,
lots
guys,
of
after
detail
this, I'm
about all the
gonna
different
hang it up
technologies
for the
people
night.
use to adapt to Arrakis'
Still haven't got my
environment.
sleeping schedule on
Kynes
track.
shows the Atreides how to wear the still suit properly. It's a difficult technical thing for someone who's never used it before. But Paul somehow already knows how to wear a still suit properly. And that shocks Kynes because it fits part of the prophecy of the Lisan al-Gaib. He shall know your ways as though born to them. Paul's personality and his words and his ability to see the truth also fit
Timothy
the
Chalamet.
prophecy. In the book, Kynes thinks
Oh.
of himself as a rational,
Hey, yeah,
skeptical
what?
scientist who doesn't believe in superstitions. But Paul does fit the prophecy, so it seems like there might be some truth in the prophecy, mixed in with the Bene Gesserit's manipulations. The Atreides fly out to the desert to learn about spice harvesting. These flying machines are called ornithopters, which is a real word for flying machines with flapping wings. The book describes thopters as looking like birds with feathered wings. Harvester machines
Alright, y'all,
extract
I'm gonna
spice
hang it
from
up for
sand
the night.
using centrifuges.
I'll try to
In the
stream
book,
whenever
they
I
look
get
like